Mike out of Chicago.
And what is this truck?
2015 Freightliner Argosy glider. So it's a Detroit motor in it.
What's it got for a transmission?
10-speed, unfortunately. I
What's
wish it
your
was
ideal transfer?
13 would be. That's the plan for the future because this is the first time truck's out after a 3-year build or restoration, I guess you can call it. Haven't have much experience driving it. So we'll see how she does. If she does well, then I'm gonna go further into it.
What inspired you to start on it?
Weight and wheelbase.
Okay, what is the wheelbase?
It's 156, and in the dump game, it's all about the weight of the truck, and you can get into places. We're out of Chicago, so that's a big factor. And I thought it was the best of both worlds, where it weighs like a day cab would, but I have a sleeper, which opens up doors for other work. Because I'm owner operator, where you would have to have another truck to do other work because it would limit
But
you
now
in
it's
the day
all in
cab.
one. Have you worked it yet? Or
No.
Not? Okay.
Today it's its debut, and Monday we'll hit the pit.
What's your first load going to be? Using this trailer?
This trailer, it's a new trailer.
Brand new, unused.
Unused, yeah. I got it 3 days ago.
What?
Yeah, it was rushed just to make it before the show. Thanks to a few guys.
Can you tell me about this whole setup back here? This is totally different to anything I've
Well,
heard.
these springs are supposed to be hooked up to the lines, but I keep flipping the cab for people.
But is this the air intake?
That's the
here?
intake system.
Wow.
I'm looking for another dock, let's call it, because I am going to put a back window in this truck, which is going to make life easier. But I need to find a good dock to make it look somewhat good, but move it out of the way so I could have a window back there. Then it's going to be the ultimate dump truck for me. Because now I'm limited with the mirrors.
Where did you find this?
I found it locally, but it was brought down from North Carolina at an auction. Some company had 5 of them, but this truck originally was a day cab. It's a long story, but I purchased it, and then I found out it wasn't on bags. When I found out the day cabs were not on bags, I was like,
I'm out.
Not happening. So that's when I looked into the Argosy suspension, and I bought another Argosy just for the cab and the cab suspension. And that's when the whole project started. I had to move, it was a bare frame. I had to move different tanks, I had to move the batteries, the air tanks were moved. It was all on the frame, but with I really need that space on the frame to get in. And with the tanks and the batteries on each side, it's nice to have this little corner for unhooking and changing trailers, for accessing the truck. Many people don't think about it. Getting in and getting under the truck with the creeper, or again, the transmission out. You need to have if you don't have a space to get under there, you have to lift the whole back up to get a transmission out. I do my own work.
I was gonna ask.
You think about it all, service side of it, like with these mud flaps, it's not just about looks. These come off. The top comes off for changing tires, brakes. You pop that off, you're in and out.
Can you get replacements for something like
Yeah,
this?
overseas.
Still? Okay, of course.
It's a nightmare. But these come off with these 2 clamps, and you're in there.
What was the hardest thing to find?
Cab. Finding a Freightliner cab is, there was no cab for sale. There was one, bare shell, which was expensive. So I ended up buying a whole truck just for the cab. Yeah, it cost me a pretty penny, but I made it work.
And you're in the city.
Yeah.
So do you have some space where you can do all this?
I rent a shop, which is as big as this parking spot.
Oh my.
Yeah. So honestly, it was built like in a backyard type of deal. I don't have the fancy shop and all that stuff. It's just, I started in a parking lot, but when it got into the cab part of the project, because I was just renting parking spots before the project. But then when I was like, man, there's no way I'm doing a cab swap in a yard, basically. So I rented a shop, got the truck in there, and it ended up being a 2.5-year project with that.
So you've done the work yourself. What was the most fun part of the project?
Fun was seeing it all come together, because it was an idea, it was a vision, A lot of people would consider it pointless because there's plenty of trucks out there you can just buy and work them without doing all that. So having it work out somewhat at the end was worth it.
Have you gotten to drive it much?
Here, first time. I drove it around the yard and stuff, but
Make sure everything was working.
this was a big one for me. Pulling it out after 3 years of sitting, I wasn't sure about many things. We drove 5 hours, no issues.
What made you decide on everything you chose? Like the engine, was there a specific?
Yeah, engine is a big one. Because maintaining equipment yourself, you have to have a lot of special equipment, scanners and programs to deal with emissions. That gets expensive. And mechanical side of it, Detroit's are pretty much straightforward engines, fairly easy to maintain and work on. So that was a big one for me. I run a 2001 Max CH. I never take it to a mechanic. Basically, anything on that truck, I'm able to fix most of it myself with, let's say, help over the phone with somebody. I don't take trucks to shops. So that's a big one. With these engines,
Where did you learn all of this?
I grew up, as most truck guys, in a trucking, family, I guess. My father, my grandfather. So I was just around it.
What was the first truck you ever drove?
A Mack? No, probably not. But as a truck, as my own truck, a Mack CH.
How old were you the first time you drove a truck?
Oh, probably under 10 years old, sitting on on a lap. But
Do you remember your first ride in a truck?
yeah, for sure. I was back in Poland because we're originally from Poland. We had a European truck. My father put me on his lap and he let go, and I was just driving. I remember like it was yesterday.
Were you specifically looking for an Argosy?
No, honestly, I wasn't even looking for a truck when I found this truck. I ran into it and
Was it on Facebook Marketplace?
No, it was
Okay,
at a
good.
local dealer that deals with gliders. They specifically buy a lot of gliders. And I wasn't looking for a truck, but they had this thing and it was a day cab. It didn't look nothing like it. But I was like, man, it's a glider. And no one's really buying it. They wanted a lot of money for like 80,000 because it was 3 years ago. It was crazy.
Everything was expensive.
It was crazy. But I was like, man, if this thing don't sell, maybe. And I drove by that truck every day and I was like, no one's buying it.
So like you actually saw it?
Yeah, I saw it
geez.
as a day cab. Well, let me put the light on. Well, you can climb at your own risk if you want to go inside.
I have a cab over, but it isn't this tall.
And I was just watching it, like, man, if this thing don't sell, they might go down on price. And 3 months, I was just driving by, talking to my buddies about it. And then I went in there a few times. They wanted some crazy money. Then finally, they made an offer, and I guess no one gave a better offer than I did, and they finally sold it.
Wow.
And I wasn't going to do all that. Like I said before, I think I mentioned, but then I wasn't familiar with Argosys at all. So I looked into the suspension of the cab because I wanted to do a different exhaust system. And this thing was on these rubber mounts in the back. And I was like, how the hell they have a 2015 with rubber mounts in the back? And I started looking into all these Argosys, and all of them have this intricate suspension system, but the day cabs. And I was like, man, that's when I opened up my eyes. Well, I have to do a cab swap. I already have this truck. I need to do and this cab solves all the issues of the day cab. You have the extra storage. It's a small bed, but it's a bed. It's got a lot more space for the driver, and I need the leg room. The day cab wasn't, I thought it would be bigger than a regular day cab.
And you're a very tall person. Have you?
Doesn't help with trucking, I'll tell you that much.
But you haven't slept in it yet.
No.
You haven't driven it yet.
No, we took the plastic off the bed over here.
The seat just moved.
Oh yeah, it's a fancy seat.
Wow.
Yeah, because that seat drops down when you get out, so it's low when you get in. So you don't have to squeeze between the steering wheel. Yeah.
Wow.
It senses that you're the weight, and so it drops when you get off of it.
Should I be offended?
No, you set it for weight. It drops down, so when you get out of it, you have all the leg room.
This is amazing. It's very cozy.
It's nothing special, but if you know Freightliners, they're not known for good interiors.
So is this a new interior?
I did everything I could to make this interior somewhat presentable. It's like wrapped in, none of it is factory. So this is all redone. I purchased a lot of new pieces to make it work. The whole back of the sleeper, that's all brand new, custom made. Factory sleeper panels were horrible. You wouldn't even, no one, it was, you wouldn't want to see it.
And it's a glider. So is the only mileage on it from Chicago to here?
Oh no, it was a used, it was a used, it was,
When you got
it was used, it was a normal used, it was at 600,000 when I got it. Now it's at like whatever it is.
Yeah, from Chicago to here.
The biggest problem with the interior was the top panel. They had to wrap it in this fabric, which wasn't cheap, I'll tell you that much. Because it's got to
like
be,
a velour sort of
it's like suede type of deal, because it's got to stretch. And the headliner was in such a bad condition where you had to redo it.
Is this a shelf?
Yeah.
Nice.
So opens up a lot. This cab opens up a lot of storage, which is nice. I don't have to have a toolbox outside of the truck.
And the very low doghouse is convenient. You
Yeah.
can put your feet
There's
down.
there's a big story with this doghouse if you want to hear it.
Yes,
Because
bring it on.
I didn't have the knowledge of Argosys, but this truck obviously has a 12.7 in it. And the cab I purchased from the truck I purchased for the cab out of Florida had a C12 cat in it. I was like, all right, good. I got the truck down here. I took the day cab off of it. I got this cab on a forklift, ready to drop it. Turns out the floor was different. They have different heights of floors with different engines. So I put the cab over the frame. My floor is not tall enough. I needed to extend this floor 3 inches. I had to redo the whole floor, raise up the floor 3 inches to fit the Detroit.
How? How did you do that?
It just a lot of engineering went into that. I unriveted the whole floor of the truck, made extensions, I mean, it looked good at the end, but it was a project.
And you did it yourself?
Yeah.
Woo!
That was the biggest setback with the whole project, because that cost me a lot of, not money, but just figuring it out, just probably 2 months of work.
And a little on your nerves, I'm guessing.
Yeah, because it was kind of like, damn, now you're going to hit me with the floor? Who knew? No one knew.
You would think that they would adjust maybe the height of the cab instead, like raise it somehow on the frame.
It just, the C12 was a lower engine, sits lower than the frame, and they just took advantage of that to give the driver more headroom. But the Detroit was different, and I didn't know that.
Which I will say, there's probably at least 2.5, 3 feet above my head sitting right here. So that's pretty amazing. You wear a cowboy hat. You could wear a cowboy hat.
Most people could stand up in the cab, no problem. I have to kind of.
Okay, let's test it. Is it okay if I stand on there? I don't want to get anything dirty. Have you
this
already
is
been
a work
judged?
truck. It's not a. Yeah.
What class?
First show.
Oh, my head is just touching here,
See?
but if I was...
Well, it's because of that Detroit. If it was a C12, you would have 3 or 4, maybe 3.5 more inches.
If I took my shoes off, I bet I'd be just fine too. What is your absolute favorite thing about driving it? Is it just compared to other trucks?
Honestly, it's very comfortable for a short wheelbase truck. I am amazed how comfortable it is. Coming out of a day cab, which was my Mac is about 205 wheelbase and on dual airbags on the cab, and this thing rides a hell of a lot smoother than the Mac.
What year was the Mac?
2001.
Do you still own it?
Yeah.
All right. How many trucks do you have in your collection?
Well, now 2.
Okay. And do you still plan on working the Mac occasionally also?
I don't know. It's a whole unit ready to go, but I might just sell it and keep one.
I know you said you plan on putting a window.
Yeah.
So it looks like this panel sort of overlays.
I might have to, yeah, a lot of customizing with this truck. That's another thing that's going to have to be trimmed down. But I already talked to the upholstery guy, and we're just going to cut the window out, trim it back.
The same panel that's already here?
Yeah.
Excellent. So you're already thinking
The only thing holding me back is that intake system. Because I don't want to have some weird looking intake, but I got to get a different one.
What about the colors? What helped you pick colors
for the
truck? Interior and exterior. You just like red?
I do like red. This is kind of a burgundy red. For some reason, all my cars and trucks are red.
Just worked out that way.
Yeah.
Do you know what the color is called on the outside of the truck? burgundy.
No, it's off of a, I don't know the name, but I know the paint code. It's off of a Mazda. It's very beautiful when the sun hits it. Now it looks just burgundy, but in the sun, it's got a nice flake to it. It looks really good in the sun, and it's very close to what I have. I'm into sports cars as well. Not, well, if you want to call them sports cars, but it's close to my car, so they look good together.
What's your favorite car?
A '98 Nissan 240 SX.
And do you have a dream car?
No, not really.
How about a dream truck? Or another you plan on adding to the collection eventually?
I don't really think about dream trucks because I think about what I could afford, you know?
You gotta be a little bit reasonable at
Yeah.
least. Now, how fast do you think this one will go? I know you like sports cars.
Not faster than my Mac. It's geared different, but this thing, nothing to write home about. Probably 85, 90 with the 373 gear in the back. It's not a thing that you think about when you buy a truck.
Right.
Nothing past 75 is unnecessary.
Well, mine can't even make it to 65. So
Oh, well, no.
I have an 80 Peterbilt.
This thing's very, very well geared for what I need it for. It's about doing, I was just testing it out. I was afraid of, I'm like, I never driven this truck on a highway till coming here. I drove it from the dealer to the yard, drove it around the yard. So I was like, man, I wonder how this thing's gonna do on a highway. And I was hoping for decent RPMs. So I was doing 65 at 1400. So I was like, man, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So 70, I'll be at 15, 1600. That's perfect. That's all I need. Because I'm not big on speeding. Just got to do the speed limit,
But look good while you're doing it. How far did you have to go to pick up the trailer?
Well, it came out of Ohio. It was built in a TrailStar plant in Ohio.
So you went from Chicago?
No, they brought it down for me.
Nice.
Dave Leach hooked it up. I got to give him credit. So they brought it down, and I picked it up from his dealer. But there was problems along the way. We almost didn't make it, but at the end it worked out.
That's how Matt's always goes.
It was close.
And it's your first time here?
Yeah.
First time showing?
Yeah.
What's the experience like so far?
So far I am pleased, but I don't think I will. If this thing hits the pit, it'll never be that clean. So I don't think I'll be showing it again. So this is today is its debut. This is my first time showing, but I enjoy truck shows. I love to see other ideas, I guess, people have different ideas about trucks. Some go over the top, some like the mild look. Sometimes I go for function over looks, let's say, but it's got to be well done, clean.
Well, I like explaining to people if everyone liked the same thing, it would be a very boring world. Now, something I can't often do is stand outside the truck and look all the way down it. So that's a pretty nice one, but it's still so high that I can barely see the top of the truck. How tall is the whole thing?
I believe it's 11.6 top of the horns. Because that's another thing you got to think about doing dump work. It's bridges.
One-handed climbing out. Look at that. Can't do that in just every cab over too.
I feel like it's set up decent for getting in and out. Because this was a whole deal with the steps. They don't come like this. They come with a aluminum step that comes basically down like this fender would, and they go back up. And the steps are basically in the same spot as this would be. But I don't like the look. And when you raise the cab up, the steps go with it. And guess what? They're in your way to get in and out. Because I got to show you this, because this was some engineering involved to making this work, because this moves out of the way. When you tilt the cab.
How do you tilt the cab on this?
I'll tilt it for you, but these steps, you unopen them, and when I tilt them, they move out of the way.
And you created that?
Yeah, because for servicing. Again, it's not just looks. You got to get in there. I'll show you in a sec. I pop these open clamps, and as I tilt the cab, the fender moves out of the way, and you can take it out I could take it out of there.
Is that a piece that already existed, or did you have to?
Oh no, this is
panel?
I made this off of this is a half fender off of a Cascadia, and I made a whole hinge system to hook up and take them out of the. It's amazing to work on this thing with these out of the way.
Do you have like an engineering degree or something?
No, I'm just Polish.
Oh my gosh.
You just got to make it work.
That is funny. Already, that's easier to get in. And
Let me show you how much. I mean, this has got a 360 axis once you tilt the cab because it's almost full 90. You can pull the radiator with the cab tilted going up. It's amazing. Oh, gotta open the grill. I always forget, but it's got a safety switch on it, so you will not tilt with the grill shut.
is it like a hydraulic automatic system, or do you have to pump it?
No, it's got a hydraulic pump on it.
Did it, or did you have to
No, I had
create that?
This is nice. The Argosys are very nicely set up for your daily checks. There's no need to flip the cab. Everything's here. Oil, your fill, your washer fluid, coolant. There's no need to flip the cab on this truck unless you have an issue with servicing it.
It's so clean.
Everything's here, and you can stand on these hooks. You got a handle for washing the glass. It's
Wow.
just well made. I don't know why people are not into these things, honestly. The only thing about the truck that people don't like is getting in and out, but that's a good thing as well because it keeps you moving.
Exactly, but we're in America, my friend.
Life is not about getting the easiest way out of things. We know that.
So, you're Polish.
Yeah,
If you could bring a European truck over here, would you?
probably. Honestly, I thought about it because the money, this thing wasn't that cheap, but servicing the truck, parts, downtime, it's not very, it wouldn't be a good decision. If you have a toy or a show truck, yeah.
But to work?
To
you
work
gotta,
it daily,
yeah.
that you wouldn't want a imported truck.
How about the lights up there on the roof? Was that something you had to find?
Yeah,
That whole system?
I had to do some engineering to find the right angle of the light bar. It's off of a DAF truck. It's all good thing
So
eBay.
you did import some things.
Yeah. eBay has a lot of dimensions on some of their products, so I was able to make that work.
But it fit the slope of the roof and everything?
I feel like it fits pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, drive it for
You
yourself.
didn't have to alter anything.
No.
Excellent. And you
And
got some
that's-
cool air horns too.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I was on the fence about that because it adds
About the
to
air horns?
Yeah, just about the height.
Oh yeah.
Because it adds to the height, but my trailer sits at 11.6, and I am at 11.6 with the horns.
Perfect.
So
It was meant to be.
So I was like, I could have horns on it because I am still within the height of the trailer. Not the truck. It looks tall, but it's not taller than the trailer. It's right there. So you would still hit the bridge, either or.
So the battery box here, do you remove that to be able to access the cab, or how does?
No, I just take the cover off because there's a hydraulic over electric pump that usually sits right here, but I am very limited with space, so I tucked it into the battery box, which makes it look cleaner, but it tucks it out of the element.
Right.
It's not in the snow. And this truck originally came with 3 batteries on the frame, so I had the extra spot. This was a 4 battery box from the donor truck. So
and it all fit perfectly.
So some things in life do work out.
Wow.
Hold on, I am ready to flip. Okay.
Go for it. I'll watch out over here.
You see it's doing its thing? I'm talking about the fender.
And you said this goes to 90 degrees.
Almost, not all the
Almost,
way, but
okay.
and-
That is far
and you
enough.
can take these off, and now you have full access to the motor. I mean, I could go a full 90. I don't think there's anything on a bed. That's one thing you have to think about with these cab overs. If you left something somewhere on the bed, it could come and take the windshield out. That's a big one. Nobody's in the front over there?
That's what I've been watching for.
And that's what I was talking about. When it goes to full tilt, you can access the radiator and the charge air cooler from the inside, straight up.
And the grill doesn't touch the ground.
No, it's almost like it worked out. And that's what I was saying. Full access from the front. Both sides, I made it so I could come inside into it. And then if you need to do any head work, you can pull the battery box and pull the cam backwards. You couldn't do that any other truck.
This is easier to access than a conventional Peterbilt?
Yes, because of the
back
section of it, because the cab would be right here. This box is not that hard to get out of the way.
And you can get under there? This is great.
Yeah.
Well, here's a view that I'm going to take a step up here.
You can go stand on the motor.
We don't get to see a truck
and
like
turn
this usually.
360 degree. I just really like the configuration of a 12.7. It's just made simple to get into the motor.
I have definitely not seen a view like this before. This is cool. If a fifth wheel was 5 feet tall, this is what it would see.
If there's one thing I could brag about is that intake manifold, because it's cast aluminum and I took some time to polish that out a little bit. It's not perfect, but I feel like it looks good.
Have you ever done a build like this before? Was your Mac something?
It was built, but not to this extent. It was just redone, repainted, again, cab, frame, everything was repainted, new fenders. Typical basic restoration, but the floor deal made it was a low blow. The hydraulic situation was kind of tight. A lot of figuring out things, yeah.
This is so accessible.
It's just well made. And I guess that was the main idea behind this truck.
Except you took it one step farther. Well, lots of steps farther.
If you go the full tilt like it is now, the steps wouldn't be in your way because they would be up there. But most of the time, you don't really want to go all the way up. So,
well, if you stood on a tire,
they would be right here.
You get whacked in the head still.
Yes, sir. Yep.
What year is it?
2015. But it's a glider, so the motor is a 98.
When did they cease to exist?
I believe it was 2017 they discontinued making the Argosy. They still make them, but I believe for export. It was North America that stopped selling them.
Which is too bad, because look at how it's cozy inside. It's user-friendly for a trucker. And wow, you've just taken it many extra miles.
With owning this truck, you watch the market, and slowly the mid-size scene, they keep bringing cab over trucks. If you look at garbage trucks and delivery trucks, even Kenworth and Peterbilt has some cab over trucks from Europe that they just rebrand under their badge. And I feel like that's gonna happen in heavy truck scene as well.
So you got it at a good time.
Maybe I'm like one of the first ones.
Yeah. Trendsetter.
Maybe.
Does the truck have
there's
a
plenty
name?
of cab overs out there. It's just nothing new.
Not many people make Argosies look cool.
And then with running trucks, you don't really want the old trucks because there's just more to it.
You've got the old truck vibe with the new truck conveniences.
Yeah, I got tired of, things rusting out and cracking and breaking cross members and frames sometimes. It's just the beauty, the old trucks, they have their own little issues, I guess.
I love how this looks with everything completely opened up from one end to the other.
That's the first time seeing that, honestly, yeah.
Well, you've only had the trailer 3 days, right? So.
Yep. Trailer is only mid way up. It goes a lot higher.
How long is the trailer?
24 foot.
Are you excited to haul your first load in a few days?
Yes and no, because I know they're going to dump rock on the side of it.
Oh, geez.
They always do. But I am excited to weigh the truck because the whole game, the name of the game is light, so I'm hoping it's not too heavy.
You should have a jar with people can write their name and their guesses of how much it
Most
weighs.
people wouldn't know. You got to be in the game to know. I pretty much have it figured out because I weighed the truck before I did the whole cab swap. I weighed the truck and it was very good. So I took some things off and I added a few things. So I am very close to what it's gonna weigh, but you never know till you put on a weigh.
You have a guess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very glad that you brought it here. And I said, can I take a few minutes of your time? It's been half an hour. So this is amazing.
You're a talker.
Well, hey, you have a lot to talk about. So thank you very much. And
you got to point out the hydraulics.
Okay, keep talking.
Split this 100 fuel.
Oh, wow.
It's because there is a whole hydraulic system that's tucked into this truck that you don't even see. It's a 100-gallon fuel tank, not by accident, split in half, and it's got a dual line hydraulic system on it, and it's all tucked in there. It's tight, but I made it work.
Just because you could.
Most people would never know it's got hydraulics on it. That's why I pointed it out, because usually they get a tank behind the cab. I don't have the space for it. It doesn't look good, and you don't see no cables. I mean, that was a lot to make that work, and I need about 150 gallons of fuel to do 2 full days of work. So it worked out perfect because that's a 100-gallon fuel tank. It didn't have these tanks I added because I had smaller tanks on it. So that's a full capacity tank over there. This one's split, puts me at 150, 2 full days of work. I don't really want more than that because it's too much weight. And with the 100-gallon tank, you only get a day and a half. So you have to fill up twice.
And I'm guessing Chicago fuel prices aren't that great.
Yeah, they're all over. They're not that good out here either. These lights ended up being. I really like the design of the mud guards, but these lights, a lot of LEDs are usually 12 or 24 volt, but these lights ended up being just 24 volt, and this is a 12 volt system. So it took a electrical engineer to convert these lights to 12 volts.
Not a Polish person?
It was a Polish dude,
but
he had a degree. So he converted them.
Well, if this is what you can do without one, I don't even want to know.
And he converted them to 12 volts to make them work.
Do you have any regrets?
No.
No way.
No regrets. Time spent on the build was.
Were you still
it's a dedication,
in the meantime while you were working?
Yeah. I work every day. This was built in the evenings, at night, on Saturdays. All my free time.
What's your hobby? Do you have a hobby? Building trucks.
Yeah, this is it.
Well, it's done now.
Well, it still needs a few things. The shakedown period's gonna be, we'll see it's gonna need a few more things, I know. But overall, this is it. The mud guards was a big one to prevent mud from getting into the cross members. I made these when they come down. It fits with that one. When I put my extensions on, it's all enclosed. So because it's gonna throw mud everywhere. So I'm trying to
nothing comes up.
I'm trying to prevent. And it's one mud is looks. Obviously, the truck looks dirty, but weight adds about 200, 300, 400 pounds to your empty weigh with all the mud on it. So you can't have mud everywhere.
And the headlight buckets here, is that what we're?
Yeah, to kind of
keep them from breaking.
Again, enclose the wiring because salt water, all the mud gets into your wiring. This is where you wanna prevent that.
Well, this is incredible. You've done amazing work. It's a work of art. And if you need to make friends, just tip your cab at a truck show and plenty of people will stop by and say hello.
Yeah, honestly, there's more interest than I thought. I didn't think it was going to be this popular. A lot of people are like, why?
Why not?
Yeah, a lot of people are not here, not at the show, but when I started building it, a lot of people were like, why go through all that?
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That was perfect. Let's see if
that's my wife. She's just watching from the side.
That was supposed to be 5 minutes and it was 40 minutes. So sorry about that. But that was amazing.